This box was at the airport for 7 days. Take a look. The contents were shocking. Airports are like their own small cities, full of hundreds of people coming and going, plenty of shops and restaurants. They're sure to never be calm or quiet. People insisting on taking selfies with wild animals just infuriate me. Many wild animals will not instantly flee as a person approaches them for a selfie. This is not permission for the person to keep getting closer. Many animals know that to be the first one to flee as a predator approaches makes them a target. Most animals will stand their ground for a bit until the human has approached the limit of the animal's tolerance. Then the animal must decide on fight or flight. It's at this point that the dumb human acts so shocked when the animal decides to defend its personal space and go on the attack. Or if the poor animal decides to flee, it is using vital calories and escaping and maybe getting separated from its young or its family unit, or maybe leaving its territory and will be attacked by other animals. I watched a video of a scuba diver recently following a small octopus along the ocean floor. The poor thing tried to hide in a crevice that unfortunately held a larger octopus, so the smaller one was killed and eaten by the larger one, all because the scuba diver didn't know when to quit. Fear of humans keeps animals from falling victim to humans with bad intentions. Sadly, there are a lot of people who get their jollies from hurting animals. People who feed wild animals and encourage the animals to get close to them make it easier for people with harmful intent to get closer to them. Wild animals cannot differentiate between the human who cares about them and the human who wants to harm them with fear of people removed. Wild animals are easy victims. Fear of humans keeps wild animals from becoming nuisances. An animal that is fed by humans can come to expect to be fed, which means it will actively seek out humans. If a wild animal starts hanging out near human habitations with the expectation of getting food, it may start acting aggressively. If food is not offered, it may do damage to crops or garden plants. If it is a predator, like a coyote or a bear, it may start attacking companion animals when it starts making a nuisance of itself to humans. A wild animal is at high risk of being killed because it's a nuisance. People can be seen rushing to make their flights, trying to find their recently driven loved ones, or searching for delayed baggage. Meanwhile, security personnel and customs officers must make sure that no one is bringing unauthorized goods into the country. In March last year, personnel at Beirut Rafah Harries Airport in Lebanon caught sight of a strange wooden box. Every day at that airport, countless pieces of luggage, commercial goods and cargo pass through customs. Most of it passes through without incident, but last March, an unlabeled box caught the staff's interest. The box had holes on the sides and was destined to war in Syria. But apart from an airline ticket number, the box was completely unmarked. Then for 7 days it just sat at the airport until a judge gave customs agents permission to open it. When the agents and the animal advocates saw what was inside, they couldn't believe their eyes. The box was only 16 inches, 42 centimeters tall and contained 3 young Siberian tigers. Siberian tigers, which are listed by the UN as an endangered species, are highly sought after on the black market, and today there are only 500 left in the wild. The 3 tiger cubs were extremely dehydrated and in very poor condition. They were forced to lie in their own feces, which also explained the strong smell that wafted from the box. The tigers had been stuck in a tiny hell for the last week. There was no information about them, and they had not been vaccinated. The Washington Convention bans transporting endangered animals and plants across borders without special permission. Only one of the tigers had a microchip and could be traced due to the urine-stained box. The paws of the 3 tigers were bloody, sore, and infected. The cubs couldn't even stand up in the little box, and they also suffered from severe diarrhea and digestive problems. Nothing indicated that the boxers or even lab animals, and there were no details of a shipper or receiver. Animal rights organization Animals Lebanon wrote on Facebook, the 3 male tiger babies had been on a flight from Ukraine and were supposedly destined to be sold to a zoo in Syria. Following the horrible discovery, animal rights organization Animals Lebanon demanded that the animals be transferred to them. Due to their poor health and for the sake of their well-being, a judge ordered the tigers to be placed in the animal welfare organization's care, according to the Telegraph. Immediate treatment Animals Lebanon immediately flew a specialized wildlife veterinarian in to examine the tigers. it was discovered that they had not been vaccinated. Their paw pads were raw and red from being covered in urine, as were their back, legs, and thighs. Animals Lebanon added on Facebook. Thankfully, though, through love and care, the tigers' states improved, but the situation was still critical. Siberian tigers, which are listed by the IUCN as a highly endangered species, are highly sought after in the black market. In addition, the Ukrainian zoo that had sold the tigers demanded their immediate recovery. They are improving, but they are still at risk. Big cats can be worth tens of thousands of dollars on the black market. The owner is fighting to get them back, and we're fighting for the tigers and rule of law, Animals Lebanon explained on Facebook. At the beginning of May, the good news came at last. Authorities in Lebanon had decided that the tigers would not be sent back to their owners and would remain in the care of the animal welfare organization. Thank you for all the help to make this possible. So many people did more than enough to do the right thing and to prevent the tigers from ending up on the black market. Animals Lebanon writes on Facebook. All that remains is the legal decision to release the tigers into the care of an animal sanctuary that would have their best interests in mind had it not been for this animal rights organization. The tigers could have been sold on the black market and probably met a dark fate. A few weeks later, good news came from the government of Lebanon. The Ministry of Agriculture decided to free the tigers. The animals were taken in by Animals Lebanon, and then May, Tanya and Anton moved to a nature reserve for tigers. Wonderful animal welfare organizations like Animals Lebanon deserve our respect and support. I don't know how many animals would meet a gruesome end were it not for the animal welfare volunteers and advocates out there. Every day they fight for the best of animals, and often they don't get the credit for their good deeds. Animal advocates are there for all of God's creatures. When society, the government, and animal owners fail to do something so basic, give them love and protection. If you see an animal suffering, don't hesitate to contact the authorities or your local animal welfare organization. Whether they are exotic tigers, farm animals, or ordinary dogs and cats, all animals deserve a good life. We contacted Animals Lebanon, who clarified that while being stuck at the airport, the tiger cubs did get visited by a representative of the importing zoo for around 15 minutes each day before being rescued. While the tiger babies are getting stronger every day, their future is unknown. There's a chance they could be given back to the legal owner and probably end up on the black market. But Animals Lebanon is doing everything for that not to happen. We can only hope that they will be well taken care of, but unfortunately, it seems there is a huge potential for them to end up on the black market. Mare elaborated in an interview with the Dodo. Since 2012, their mother was given birth to at least 12 cubs, including these 3, Mare told the Dodo. The other 9 were all sold to private, undisclosed buyers. In many countries, there is simply not as much oversight surrounding the sale of exotic animals as we're used to. In the Western world, there's a lot of money to be made by selling the cubs to private owners, and in many cases, no one is going to be around to check up on their well-being. Wildlife trafficking involves the illegal trade, smuggling, poaching, capture, or collection of endangered species. Protected wildlife, including animals or plants that are subject to harvest quotas, are regulated by permits, derivatives, or products thereof.